Welcome to another edition of Lifestyles of the Rich and Muscular. I'm your host, Robin Leach. And today I will take you inside of the famed Castle Grayskull. And who do we have here? That must be the obvious skull-faced owner of this prestigious castle. Perhaps we can convince him to give us a tour and see truly how the other half of the Eternian elite lives.
You lamentable lady! I'm not trying. Yes, I'm the owner of Castle Grayskull. But it seems I've forgotten my keys.
That is quite all right. Our production team has a key to every castle and every mansion in all of Eternia for just such an occasion. There you are. Hello, I'm Justin.
And I'm Kyle.
And we have the power of Mega Brands.
And Grayskull, apparently.
And Grayskull. Both of those powers. We are talking about the Mega Blocks, Mega Brands, Mega Contrux.
All the megas.
Castle Grayskull. If you've watched any of our other videos, you've seen it in the background. I've had it half complete for a very long time, but I finally completed it.
Nice.
So I wanted to do a review. Quick shot of the box. It looks awesome.
Is that going to be your tattoo?
Already is.
Is that what you have on your back?
Yes. So they go with this vintage look, trying to make it look kind of like the art, but it's the
painted.
the painted, yeah. If you haven't seen this already, the boxes are hard to get into.
Well, they're not for noobs.
This is for 14 plus. It is giant instruction book. A single giant instruction book. Comes with 6 figures.
Are you a pro builder?
Yeah, 3,508 pieces.
Gotta have those essential 8 pieces.
It is divided up into 4 sections with a character on top. So you have He-Man, Skeletor, Beastman, Tila. You have all of them. So that is a quick shot of the box. Beautiful art. Beautiful art on the inside. The whole thing is filled with very nice cover art. They really did it to the nines with this thing.
What about Green Tila?
Green Tila is green tea. Green tea.
Yeah, that's good. Where is Green Tila from?
Comic. Because when the original guy was coming up with the ideas of who is what and everything, they didn't have the brand down. And of course, when the cartoon came out, they changed even more stuff to make it more streamlined, make a little more sense. But he was just looking at concept art and said, it's a green goddess.
Okay.
So they didn't always translate everything to all the creative forces behind it. And so that's why you have a lot of conflicting lore in the beginning, and that's why everyone
They didn't have a brand Bible.
They had a brand Bible, but it was very loose. And as they pumped out more characters and concept art,
More stories
like, this person does this, and this is what they're. That's why He-Man was a barbarian. There was no Prince Adam in the beginning, and things like that. So the writers were just coming up with stuff because they weren't given much, and they weren't given a lot of parameters either.
Right. The 80s.
Yeah, not now. And I was like, consistency.
Well, no, that's better, because back then it was like, here's a concept, sell the toy. That's what these creative people were told. I imagine for most creative people, that's soul-sucking. You're here to sell a toy.
It was interesting if you read any of the interviews when nostalgia really started to come into play with He-Man. If you read any of those interviews with the creators, a lot of them have this lackadaisical kind of I don't care attitude with the way they answer questions and stuff. It's like, it was a job. No, we didn't care. None of it made sense. We just wanted to make money. And now when you read those interviews, now that there's this rabid fandom and like it's a business now and you can make a lot of money selling, now they're like, oh yeah, we did this and it was all great. Like their attitude has changed.
That's crazy, because I never felt like that was the attitude for Transformers. Peter Cullen tells stories where the director was like, no, give me more.
Those are the voice actors though.
Yeah, this is the voice of the creative people.
I'm talking about interviews with the people designing the toys, interviews with the people writing the comics and stuff, even the artists. They were like, no, it's just a job. I was given this thing and it was just treated as this is how I'm going to pay my bills.
Well, in Transformers, this is a tangent you can cut out, but in Transformers, they went to Marvel Comics to write the lore. Anyway, back to toys.
Here is the completed Castle Grayskull.
So don't drop it.
All 3,000 some odd pieces.
So can I ask you a question?
Yes,
Do you
please.
like it?
Yes, I like the result. I love getting this sorceress. It stinks that this is the only way to get her in this huge set. But if you're only going to buy one of these giant sets,
This is the one to get.
this is the one you're going to get. And that's why this was the first. This came to retail several years ago at $250. I really, really wanted it because I was in the midst of collecting these, but I wasn't going to pay $250 for a Mega Contrux. But they dropped the price, and they dropped the price again, and then wait a few years, and they really dropped the price. I bought this for just around half price. The price would go down, then it would go back up, and then the price would go down, and then it wouldn't go quite up, and then so did this thing kind of spiraling down, and it reached a price like, okay, I'm gonna get it. It's really, really cool. It's definitely a wow piece. This is based on He-Man Masters of the Universe Classics Castle. It's like the fan one, the super cool, and not the original toy. Because the original toy did not have the brown. It did not have this side part. Pixel Dan did a great comparison. If you want to check him out, he was saying this is just a copy of that. It's not a copy of the original toy. In preparing for this video, I did do some research, and the original concept did have this side part, that a physical prototype that had this. The snout came out more, but they had to squish some things down so it would fit in the box. But this looks just like, or very, very similar to the classics.
Does the handle work? Can I try it?
Yeah, go ahead. Lift it up. Okay, that's as far as you go.
So the handle works as far as you lifting the backside an inch off the ground.
Any thoughts on this?
It's scary. Like, this is the good guy's base?
Yeah, well, that's the old joke, right? In fact, the original writer, they didn't tell him whose castle it was or anything, so he was just like, okay, it's Skeletors. Skull-faced skeleton guy. You know, like a lot of the Masters of the Universe, is just like, Soltors! Soltors! We'll do close-ups of figures soon. It does come with the weapons rack, reminiscent of the original. It has gun turret, which you can actually get a better version of in those Skeletor heads. This is the one that came with the Skeletor yellow and purple head. As you can see, it's way more accurate, looks a lot more like the original toy. This is the one that came with a large Castle Grayskull. So, in my opinion, there's just no comparison. They had to downsize it, I guess, to fit in that space. So the one that comes with the castle looks like that when it's in its spot. Will this fit in there? Well, it won't fit centered, but you can... I mean, that looks pretty good. I guess it's oversized, but it does fit and will fit a figure behind it to operate it. So I may just leave this one on. It does open up. It has the other weapons rack that the original toy came with. The training thing that the original toy came with, the ladder. This is as far as it opens. So the original toy, I believe, swung all the way open, right?
Or nearly all the way, yeah.
The original play pattern idea was that you could see who had the castle, was the good guys or the bad guys. Everything was printed, no stickers in this set whatsoever, not one.
Now let me show you around to the dungeon.
We usually save the dungeon for the end.
Oh, very well.
Right as we walk in, we go to the back of the castle. We see a state-of-the-art elevator in a beautiful orangish yellow. To the right, we have a breakaway door.
Oh, sorry.
But if an elevator is not your style, you can always use the included ladder accessory. Taking the elevator to the second floor, we find a state-of-the-art computer, which swings out for hiding convenience. In the back is an empty cavernous room, perhaps to hide loads of influence, wealth, and generosity.
What? Did you find the secrets of Castle Gray? Now this is just an empty room.
We move now to the top floor, where we have some more skull iconography at the top of the elevator. Truly no expenses spared. We bring you now to the walkway. Just a quick jaunt up the stairs brings you up to the dual-sided flag to let you know where the good guys rule supreme or the bad guys have overtaken the castle.
Obviously, we'll leave it to the good guys because the owner has a skull face. Moving on to the main part of the castle is the sorceress's chamber with her magic crystal viewing globe. With so many secrets and so many riches, of course the elite must protect their castle with the state-of-the-art security system. From here, we go below and find a lovely blank open space with tall windows. Moving on, we go to the throne room with lovely printed banners. We find the obvious and uncontested owner of the castle sitting in his throne. May we see the throne? Oh, fine. It is gilded in gold with lovely jewels and rich red cushions. Moving on, we have a carpet with a contraption charging the Trollin Guardian robot. Say, Mr. Leech, you mentioned you wanted to see the dungeon. Why don't you step on that carpet over there and I'll show it to you?
That's very kind of you. Oh! And of course, no castle is complete without its real working trapdoor and dungeon.
How'd I get here?
As you can see, it's filled with an interdimensional pit of monsters, and the peace tolerances on this door prevent it from shutting all the way unless you really force it. And that takes us to the front of the castle, and another completely blank room, where the elites can use to exercise their muscles. They accomplish this task with real working medieval implements of training. The fun doesn't stop there. This castle is complete with a bevy of medieval and modern weaponry, and the racks to keep it neat and tidy. Moving to the outside, we have the back of the castle with that breakaway wall again. We have a beautiful brown thatched roof and some lovely supports for the curved thatched roof above. And of course, this lovely handle which can support a good bit of the castle's weight, but I wouldn't suggest lifting the entire thing. Moving around to the hinged side of the castle. We have some lovely details right there. The repeated building technique to get the curved castle front. And there once again is the skull effigy of Castle Grayskull. Continuing on our venture around to the side, we have an additional landing area, perfect for surveying your property. This is the side that opens, clipping together for somewhat ease. Go together, you castle. There we go. Just a little nudging is all it takes. We continue the rounded pattern on the back as well, mirroring the front.
You fool! I just used you to get inside the castle so I could steal the secrets for myself!
What are you doing here, Skullface?
No.
Was it worth the price? It was worth the price I paid for it. I really collect these for the figures. To me, building with Mega Contrux is not as pleasant a building experience.
Why is that?
They don't fit together as well as Lego. We mentioned this when we were doing our review. Would you bring the Eternia Battleground in? These are in scale
Not even
to
close?
the characters. Yeah, not even close, I guess. I don't. It's not in scale. What am I saying? Because the original toy was like that. Was the difference.
If this was
the original toy, this would be this original toy would be that.
it would be
high.
like 3 times the size.
Yeah, it was huge. So this is definitely upscaled, character specific. It appeared like in the cartoon, more scale. This is, they just didn't want it to be expensive, I guess. They make so many specific pieces. Like they'll make the angle that goes this way, an angle that goes that way, an angle goes left, an angle that goes right. There's so many that it's easy to confuse stuff. In fact, there's one same green Lego piece in here.
Not Lego.
No, Lego.
Oh, it's Lego.
Because I could not find it.
Okay.
I either built it wrong or I lost the piece or maybe it didn't include in the bag. Maybe it was a foobar on them. Out of all these pieces, I was
Where is
not
it?
missing. I don't know.
So if we melt this down, the one floating on top
Would be the Lego, yes. That would be a way to tell. But it was not a pleasant building experience just because stuff doesn't fit together as sharply, as exactly, and that is the difference. It was kind of a slog to get through. A lot of
That's why it
repeating.
took you so long.
Yes, a lot of repeating stuff. I don't think the face
Which
in
Lego
the front is great with that.
Okay.
We did a review of this one as well.
Which that's important to Lego is the building experience.
Yes.
Like Lego
Yeah.
puts a lot of time and effort into the fun.
Yeah. Now, you're always going to have repeating stuff. The bigger you get, there's stuff that's always going to be repeating patterns, but they try to make it interesting. I almost think this phase is better, not using these big 3D hunky tooth things where it's more flat. I don't know. This is way more like a facade style. I almost like it better than this, though.
You're gonna put that on front?
You'd have to
Raise
do a
up the
lot
whole
of
thing?
rebuilding for it. This is way more 3D. This one is. Do I suggest buying this?
Only for half price?
I mean, yeah, now it's pretty cool. I don't think it'll ever get much cheaper than this, because once it's off the market, I think it'll start raising in price. It is pretty cool for these characters.
One thing Mega Contrux definitely has an advantage over Lego is the minifigures, which are always awesome. The QC on them may not be as good as Lego. In other words, there's more variations on things that should be the same and consistent. And we'll start with the best one. This is the animation version of the Sorceress, and she is quite amazing. She also comes with the bird version of herself, Soar, and you could get her in all white. It's an identical figure with identical parts. This white one even came with a white Soar, so maybe they're buddies. Just in case you're wondering where the White Sorceress comes from, she came in the Point Dread set you see here. This is an amazing set. Not only does it come with the unflocked Panther, and yes, I know Panther doesn't wear a mask, but he came with it. I'm just showing you that he does come with the full Battle Cat armor set. It came with the undamaged Battle Armor Skeletor, the regular version of Zodak, the White Comic Book Sorceress, and this other weapons rack. As you can see, it's built similarly, but not exactly the same. And they even come with different weapons, though most of them are included in the Castle Grayskull version as well. We have the Green Goddess in full snake armor mode. There she is, looking very much like a salad dressing mascot. And here she is compared to the other iterations. Next we have toy version of Man-at-Arms. You know it's the toy version because he don't have no mustache. No authority mustache for this guy. And he looks pretty much the same as the one we got previously, just in new colors. To me, this is Man-at-Arms, and this is an Eternian Guard. Now we have our mini comic version of Red Beastman, and he is looking angry. He's all red. Oh, by the way, all the characters come with these stands. The set comes with enough for all of them to have a stand. And we've gotten Beastman a few times before. Here's the versions I currently have. There you go, a plethora of Beastmans. Beastmen? I guess they're a pack. Or gaggle. A murder of Beastmens. No, Skeletor moves in a murder. This is our Skeletor for the Castle Grayskull set. He does not come with his sword, just the Havoc Staff. That is it. And he's not too different from the other Skeletor versions, at least not at first. But then you notice there is some very subtle shading around the muscles for Skeletor. That does make him a little more distinct, but you really have to look for it. Here's him compared to some other normally armored skellies. Scoochie, scoochie. There we go, that looks good. Of course, they did make the battle armor Skeletor, both versions. And last but not least is the man himself, the He-Man. And he comes fully armored in all his glory with all 3 weapons. What's so special about him? Well, let's compare him to the other normally armored He-Menses, and you'll see it's really just the boots. He does have the darker colored fuzzy underwear and boots, and a more shimmery gold belt and bracers. I do have the Comic-Con one hanging out over here with the glow-in-the-dark sword. You'll see he has the animation style shading, and look how different that is to the Skeletor shaded one, who's so subtle, and he's got it like spray tanned on abs. They really went crazy with it. It's possible that this was made at a different factory, or maybe they just refined the process.
What is your opinion?
It is not Lego.
Yes, very good.
No, it's nice. I mean, I don't collect these. I got a couple of the main characters and to go with our Transformers. So Skeletor and Megatron can plan together, and He-Man just can punch every Decepticon in this space.
It is cool to area to set figures if you want to make a scene. This is obviously the
that'd
one
be
you
great.
want. Oh, the play feature, I showed you the wall busting down. There is a play feature here where He-Man sticks his sword into this and the door comes open. Let me move the Toofuses.
And that was something from the original toy, right? There was a latch you could move over with a sword.
So the way this works is they just have a curved bar piece. It's really simple. The sword just hits it and it barely nudges the door and cause it to come open. Let's see if I can get it to work.
Just crush Skeletor.
Yeah. And it crushes Skeletor.
He just stops it.
Another Lego,
Just a door.
another difference between this and Lego is this does not work great. You kind of have to fiddle. Well, now it's making a liar out of me. You kind of had to fiddle like it. Now it's working perfectly because it's on camera. It would keep coming down on its own. It was really hard, like you had to soft touch it to make it close. And that was something with this too. This is pretty tight to get this mechanism. Do you want to show them? It's pretty tight. I feel like I'm breaking the piece to get it to flip around. And that's just another difference between Mega Contrux and Lego. Quality of the pieces, quality of the plastic.
And probably the tolerances.
Yeah, the tolerances is not as tight. I do love the thatch roof. I loved how that turned out. In the back, on the side. If you're a fan of these, if you like these figures, it's the only way to get the regular Sorceress.
Do you like that set enough to get another one?
Well, funny that you mentioned that. I did get Snake Mountain. This one was slightly more. It also had 3,000 more pieces. It was also 50% off. Around Christmas, it just kept dipping and dipping and dipping. And then after Christmas, it finally reached a point, it's like, it's not going to get any cheaper. Because at one point, it dropped another like 7% overnight. It's like, okay, I'm going to get this. Guess I'm just a fanboy. I am a sucker for
why
these little
this one?
minifigures. We had Castle Grayskull, but we never had Snake Mountain. Our friend did, but we never had Snake Mountain. This is, again, this was just like the Castle Grayskull. It's an amalgam of the Motu Classics Snake Mountain, Funimation, and the original toy.
Who are the characters you need to get from here?
Oh my goodness, Ram Man. We never had that Skeletor with the blast, the Dragon Blast Skeletor. We never had that
yeah.
one. And then that Evil Lyn is the toy accurate Evil Lyn.
The spray tan.
Yeah.
Evil Lyn.
Skeletor's throne and his evil table, which appeared in the Funimation show, but never, ever appeared in any toy format, as far as I know. Little story with this. This shipped just like this.
Right.
It was not in another box. They shipped
put a
it
sticker on
in this box.
Amazon?
Yes.
I hate it when Amazon does that.
I didn't know they did do that.
Oh,
But
yeah.
it's
I've
the
gotten
seller.
Transformers like that.
It's the seller, I guess. Now, we're not box people, you and I, so I don't really care that much. For this video, I did have to rip off my address off the front of it. And I also thought, oh, geez, is this used? Did I accidentally click on the used? Because there was a used option on this toy. But it wasn't. I have opened the box. I will be building this probably over the next year.
Do you think it's more fun? Have you looked up reviews on this?
Well, that's the thing with Castle Grayskull and this, not to knock any creatives out there, but there's not a whole lot of great reviews of these. Pixel Dan did an awesome one of this, but it was more of a comparison of all of them. That is going to be a slog.
Hope not. Hope
that.
it's more fun for you.
It's 3,000 more pieces.
You can do it.
Come over and help.
I'll cheer you on.
Yeah, woot. I really get them for the figures.
Who do they still need to make?
Clawful.
Clawful.
I want Clawful. My collection is not complete without Clawful. No, I need Orko. You know, he came in those sets that were discontinued. If you want to hear more about that, watch our review of the Battleground. We go into depth about that, of some figures that were slated to come out and never did, and some of the speculation why. Jitsu,
They haven't made Jitsu?
mm-mm.
Okay, Clawful, Jitsu.
Clawful, Orko, Whiplash came out in that 5-pack that was impossible to get. It's like 5 times the price now to find on eBay and stuff. There's tons. Then they can go into Horde stuff. They had that one with She-Ra and Hordak, but that's it as far as the Horde. So I would keep buying these. I don't think they'll keep making them because they're 50% off. I don't think these are super popular. I don't think these are really selling or hitting the market. They're just too expensive. But they went ahead, even though this was not great, they still did Snake Mountain.
Probably had it already in the pipeline.
I guess they just had to recoup some of that cost. If you're only going to make 2, those are the 2 to make. If you're gonna stop there, there it is. They have shown that they're going to make some very small sets, kind of like those Skeletor heads. There are a few of those. Thank you so much for watching. If you know any more Mega Contrux fans, please share this video with them. There's very few of us out there, but we
All
are
three of them.
out there. All three of the ones you know. I've been Justin.
And I'm still Kyle. Now
Well-
get out of here, crazy kids.
Get out of here and gain the power of the universe. If you don't already have it.
I have the power.
You do. It's right there.
Until then, this has been Robin Leach wishing you champagne wishes and caviar dreams and the lifestyles of the rich and muscular. That's very kind of you. Oh!